Happy patch day, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. For those who do not know, my name is Guest, also known as ItsGuestGaming. Let's get right into it. This is the February patch, and it is a little bit lighter than normal. They have made it very clear they had the holiday break, so it was kind of lighter of a workload. It was a shortened month, so we have a little bit less to talk about, and that's okay. We'll make it a fast video. Ready? Let's go into some of the cool stuff. There's refinements to all the albums and the UI visuals and animations, but they did add some VFX for X23, and yes, they also did Silver Samurai, Psylocke, and Bucky Barnes, but I'm hoping it also doesn't have sound, because the amount of times that you kill X23, I'll be very curious to see, but I'm glad that they're putting little bits of efforts like those into some of these a little bit more vanilla cards effect-wise, rather than just zoom, drop back down. We have new audio coming on down, nothing too crazy there. So let's just go right into the actual card effects. First up is Omega Red. Omega Red is still a 4/5, they're not changing any stats there, but now as an ongoing, if you're winning here, +3 power to other locations. And I like this change in particular because it does open back up Cerebro 5 as an option for Omega Red. Originally, it was next to impossible to even consider that because being ahead by 10 really led you down the path of Iron Man and Tribunal potentially and Onslaught, and it was very clunky. It didn't feel right in that shell. Now, this is build your own Baxter building, literally, BYOB. So I'm happy to see that Omega Red's getting a little bit of love. Don't sleep, it's 411 stats, and that's not with a condition. You just have to win that lane and you're getting +3s. So whether it's by 1, it doesn't have to be by 10. I like this change for Omega Red. I think maybe we start looking at a go wide, big 4-drop style deck. You've got him, Ms. Marvel, you've got Crossbones, you know, some big power players really early on. Omega Red could actually make a pretty decent splash. So keep an eye out. He's kind of like Ms. Marvel Lite, essentially, right now. Beast is a big change, though. Beast is being reverted, sort of. He used to be a 2. Now he's back to being a 2 because they brought him up to a 3 and they said we needed to do something a little different with Beast because they want to move towards temporary cost reductions. So now, instead of being a 3/4, and those cards that you bounce back to you are forever now reduced by 1, only for the next turn. After the turn you've played Beast, those cards will be reduced by 1. This is a huge change to understanding how to play Beast in Bounce. It does make him a little bit cheaper. Yes, it does weaken him a little bit. And a lot of the synergies will still be very similar depending on how you've been playing your Bounce deck, if you've been playing it on turn 4, etc., which is probably the more common time you're looking to play out your Beast, get those cards back to you and go for a big turn 6. Now you're really forecasting that big turn 6 if you're playing your Beast on 5 with all of the free cards that will lean your opponent to thinking it's more likely to be a Hitmonkey style of deck rather than just playing a bunch of stats down. So keep an eye on that as you see when your Beasts get played, because that will affect all your other cards, obviously, such as your Bishop timings, as well as your Hitmonkeys and friends. So this one is probably going to be the most talked about one because it's in a way back to normal, but not back to normal. But I think the one that actually opens up some of the most theory crafting potential is Helicarrier. I know, that's a weird sentence to say, but follow me on it. It's a 6/10 still, but now when you discard it, it fills your hand with random cards, but it's still a hand filler. So now what used to be just 3 little add-ons to your collector, now we could be looking at a Devil Dino Discard deck, quadruple D, if you will. Didn't even mean that. As I'm saying it, that's what I'm going to be building. I'm going to call it the 4D, the Devil Dino Discard deck. And I think it could be a lot of fun, especially because Collector specifically was recently nerfed. More cards going back to the hand outside of Moon Girl. This would be the biggest ramp potentially at any one given point that could be for that card in particular. So I wouldn't be surprised if we started seeing a lot more Helicarrier. Maybe this feeds into a discard Loki shell for the same reasons, because you filled your hand and you're sitting on your Loki. Do a full swipe out. There's a couple of things we could really do with Helicarrier now, and it's not just put down one card. Now it's, you know, put down actually quite a few cards and wait for that turn 6 and get that whole handful one more time. It's like your anti-strong guy. It's a pretty fast effect now to really ramp up a couple of cards. So keep an eye on Helicarrier. I do expect to see some Helicarrier play over the next couple of days, so be ready for that after this patch goes live. There is a couple of other fixes, but I wanted to poke out some of the ones that are just more commonly talked about in some way, shape, or form in the community. For example, Scar was a big one. When you would play Wave, he would get a double reduction simultaneously. That is now removed. So if you have last month's season pass, don't be surprised if you go for your wave synergy and it just straight up doesn't work the way that it used to, because it was bugged. Now that will be fixed. The one that stuck out to me oddly was Krakoa's location text. And I went, Krakoa? Isn't that the one that they removed? They said they weren't going to do it again, but if you actually go take a look, Krakoa has a new text. It's a whole new location. Now, I don't know if this change was made or added during this update, this patch of whatever it is. Who knows? But it has a whole new location text if you haven't seen it, which is your first play here adds its power to the top of your deck. That could be really interesting as a featured location. Otherwise, it's just kind of a meh effect. It's not out yet. According to the data mines, it's unofficial, of course, but according to the data mines, it's looking at potentially March to be coming back. I don't know if they're going to release it any sooner, but it does show a featured location reappearance in March at the current schedule, so keep an eye on that. But it was one that I wanted to talk about in the other fixes. The coal people have spoken. If you got your winter variants because you wanted the coal as your rocks, so your debris and your rock slide, you now will get that. They fixed that. So it's not just the Korg anymore. Now debris and rockslide will also have the coal associated to them. Lady Deathstrike's thumb, which was such a weirdly popular glitch error to talk about, they fixed it. So woohoo, great. And then lastly, Spectrum wasn't doing the highlights properly. This was annoying for those who were doing, your Spectrum Zoo decks. They fixed it. So now all of the proper ongoings will actually illuminate when they hover the spectrum over the board going, oh, where am I going to play you? And then it shows these are all the cards that will be affected by spectrum. It was inconsistent and it is now consistent. So these are just a couple of little ones I wanted to poke out there for you, something I thought that was interesting. There's a whole bunch more. I'll have a link down in the description if you want to take a look at all of the other fixes that they've also implemented, and a lot of them are very, very nominal. Again, remember, this is an expedited patch because of the shortened season in the beginning of January. So when they got it implemented, of course, it would be a lighter workload. So it is a little bit of a lighter patch in general. Who do you think is going to have the biggest effect on the current landscape of Marvel Snap, and why? Let me know down in the comments below. Short video, short patch. Greatly appreciate you coming out and down here, liking, subscribing, commenting, and coming back. I'll see y'all next time. Have a good one.